Well, there are basically two major kinds of crises. One is what I term transitional. A transitional crisis, it may be a turning point in life. Graduation is such a time. It's not a crisis for everybody, but for some people, they are so ill-equipped to know what they're going to do from this point on. It is a crisis. Marriage can be a time of crisis. Career choices, retirement. These times in transition, moving from one phase of life or condition in life to another phase or condition, can be overwhelming, can be life-dominating, and can be life-changing. The other kind of crisis is traumatic. And that's what we're interested in today. Traumatic crisis that is overwhelming to all of my mental functioning, my emotional functioning, my coping mechanisms, life-dominating. It's the only thing that matters right now in my life. It's so important and life-changing. Whatever decision is made, my life will never again be the same. The Chinese characters for the word crisis, this is of interest. It's not definitive, but it's interesting that the two characters are Wei Qi. And the characters represent danger and change or opportunity. There's some debate over the precise meaning of the term qi, but generally it's agreed that it refers to change of some kind, and it's an opportunity. The opportunity in a crisis is to integrate that experience into our life and establish a new normal. James, in James chapter 1, says this in verses 2 through 4. Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. So the opportunity in a crisis, the opportunity in suffering, in affliction of any kind, is to integrate that into who I am in a positive way. I gain perseverance, and perseverance leads to maturity and completeness, possessing all that is needed. The danger in crisis is to resent the change and become bitter, to reject the new normal, and to live in the past. In Hebrews chapter 12, verses 14 and 15, the scripture says this: make every effort to live in peace with all men and to be holy. Without holiness, no one will see the Lord. See to it that no one misses the grace of God and that no bitter root grows up to cause trouble and defile many. In a crisis, change is inevitable. Change has perhaps already occurred. You've been notified that your son was killed in a motor vehicle accident. Nothing's going to change that. And your response is what makes the difference. You can become better, more mature, grow in compassion, grow in perseverance. You can become bitter. And you'll spend the rest of your life, perhaps, living in the past, wishing for what cannot be. What is critical incident stress? Stress is basically the wear and tear of living. The physical and spiritual and psychological or emotional response to the demands and pressures of daily life. You have stress every day, varying degrees of stress. There is what's called eustress. EU is a prefix that means good. We see it in the word eulogy. A eulogy is a good word. We usually use that at a funeral. And somebody says a good word about the person who has died.
And eustress describes stress reactions that are good or beneficial because they motivate us to make positive changes, to grow, and to achieve goals. All people have stress. It's a question of whether it's good stress or bad stress. We want good stress. We want the stress that keeps us moving. We want the stress that enables us to achieve. What we don't want is distress. Distress describes stress reactions that are severe, prolonged, or excessive. And over time, distress can cause great harm physically or spiritually, or both. So what actually is critical incident stress? Well, critical incident stress describes stress reactions to a particular crisis or critical incident. It's characterized by a wide range of cognitive, that is, thinking function, physical, emotional, and behavioral signs and symptoms. Another term for critical incident stress is traumatic stress. They're one and the same thing. Critical incident stress describes stress reactions to a particular crisis, as I said. Most people who experience critical incident stress recover from that stress event within a few weeks. It may be a few days, maybe a few weeks, may even be, there's some flexibility there. Give it even a couple months. But you move through and recover from that initial stress reaction to full functionality. If the symptoms last more than a month, and I would say maybe a little bit longer than that, there may be concern about PTSD.